and 314 for a shooting at Century Theaters, 14300 East Alameda Avenue. They're saying somebody's shooting in the auditorium. 315 and 314, there is at least one person that's been shot, but they're saying there's hundreds of people just running around. Yeah, all available units respond to the theater. Somebody is still shooting inside theater number 9 per an employee.
Lincoln 25, give me cops on the back side of it also. 16, I got people staying in theater 9 still.
Yeah, all of our RPs are saying theater 9 where Batman was playing.
316, somebody's spraying gas in here too.
Copy, somebody's spraying gas.
316, I need to rescue in here hot, you got a guy shot.
Need more officers inside theater 9.
Get us some damn gas masks for theater 9, we can't get in it. 16 Adam, I need a large car behind the theater stable side. Got a suspect in a gas mask.
Suspect in a gas mask.
16, I got 7 down in theater 9. 7 down.
Copy, we'll notify fire. 7 down in theater 9.
321, one of the shooters might be wearing a white and blue plaid shirt.
Copy, outstanding shooter possibly wearing a white and blue plaid shirt.
On July 20th, 2012, in Aurora, Colorado, just miles away from where the Columbine shootings took place in 1999, 70 people were shot or wounded in the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. Police arrived on the scene within 2 minutes of receiving the first 911 call and discovered a chaotic and horrific crime scene where 10 victims died on location and 2 later died at local hospitals. The youngest victim of the shooting was just 3 months old, and the youngest deceased, Veronica Moser Sullivan, was merely 6 years old. As the world watched emerging news reports and witnesses gave their testimonies as to what happened, fear and shock began to spread like wildfire across the nations as new details on the crime began to emerge and became public. Many people began to notice discrepancies on the information being released by the media, and just as many tragic instances in the past, details and facts were simply not adding up, and several questions remained unanswered and seemingly ignored by those reporting on the act of violence. Let's take an investigative look into the occurrences of that fateful night in Colorado to try and answer some of those questions that are not being reported by the mainstream media. Although as of today's date, August 10th, the case is still under investigation, it is important to look into what happened and provide some sort of explanation to try and answer some of the many questions the public are still wondering about, and present several facts that are not being looked at by the media and will likely not be brought up during the court proceedings of this case. Let us begin our journey into the rabbit hole.
We don't know. We have ideas. From what we saw, he wasn't alone. He had someone with him because the second can of tear gas didn't come from his side. He was completely dressed in black, head to toe. From what we saw, it seemed like he had something over his face, probably to prevent him from breathing it in. And we can only assume that someone got him in because whatever he was wearing seemed thick. So I don't think he would really. I think he'd stand out in the crowd.
We still didn't know what was going on. I asked the cop what was happening, and he said that there was still someone that wasn't detained. And at that point in time, I had feared for my own life. Before that, I was worried. I wanted to help everyone else. I wanted to be there for everyone else. But at that point in time, I wanted to get out of there. I feared for my own life. As I see people go out, I hear screaming, and it's not just the normal, it's a possible fire situation at all. So then we decided to get up. We go out, we see the cop with his gun across his chest. We go out, and the first thing we see is a 13, 14-year-old girl with a bullet wound in her leg, in her stomach, and probably her chest. And I think she was right there about to die. And I want to help her, and then I look over, and there's a group of about 300 people running away from the theater. And at this point in time, we know that we need to get out of there. So I look at her, and we just leave. And we have to get out of there, and we go to our car. Somehow we were able to get to our car and leave the parking lot.
16 Adam, I need a marked car behind the theater, stable side. The suspect in a gas mask. Show 9.
Show 9, okay, and we need cars south side. Suspect in a gas mask.
11, hold the air 1 second. Cars with that white car in the rear of the lot. Is that a suspect? Yes, we got rifles, gas masks. He's detained right now. I've got an open door going into the theater. Okay, hold that position. Hold your suspect. Okay, Cruiser 49. All cars coming and set up a perimeter around the entire mall. Set up a perimeter around the entire mall. All cars do not need to go into the movie theater.
Copy of units responding in. Just set up the perimeter around the entire mall.
321, one of the shooters might be wearing a white and blue plaid shirt.
Copy, outstanding. Shooter possibly wearing a white and blue plaid shirt.
Let me get back quickly to Corbin Dates. Was there one or two people involved in this? I've heard that you believe there might have been two, not just one.
I couldn't speculate, but the way from what I saw prior, before the gunman walking in, acted out, it seemed like there was two. But I couldn't speculate because I did not know what happened after that door had shut before it swung back open.
I think you told one of our producers that the person you saw going out of the theater to get and come back, whoever came back in, the one who went out had a goatee.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's correct, yeah. Prior to the movie even starting, when I came and got my seat at the theater, a guy walked in into the auditorium after me, sat into the very first right row, and got a phone call, took his phone call towards the emergency exit, not the lobby, and had his foot propped open by the door. It seemed like he was making gestures of trying to find somebody or trying to have somebody come to his location to where he currently was. After that, I had already stepped out of the auditorium to bring my friend in, and when we came back, the movie was just starting, lights were dimming, and that door seemed closed.
And you testified to all this in court?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Corbin Dates. I'm glad you got through it.
So like 5 minutes after the guy comes running in and tells them that they're shooting outside, you hear the alarm go off. It said murder in the theater. Like, it's just going off, murder in the theater, murder in the theater. It's crazy that they got an alarm saying that there was a murder in the theater, you know? Nobody knows who there was, but they had shotguns.
Now that we have listened to several testimonies stating that there was more than one suspect, we should consider the evidence that can prove the fact that there was more than one person involved in the Aurora shooting. Just as when a convenience store or grocery store gets robbed, and we are shown the video surveillance of the crime, we can be sure that there were several video cameras at the Century 16 theater as well. This video evidence should display the suspect or suspects entering the theater as well as the crimes committed. There are always several cameras inside and outside at a movie theater. However, this evidence has not yet been discussed and likely will not be used during the trial, although it could prove to be one of the most important pieces of evidence and answer several questions that have gone unanswered. When asked about this evidence and how James or the suspects entered the theater, authorities have simply ignored the question or stated that they do not have that information. Here's the proof.
With that, I will take a modest number of questions. We are not speculating on motive.
Chief, can you walk us through the timeline of this? When it inside the theater?
Okay, let's do one at a time.
How did he get inside the theater?
That is under investigation. I will tell you that his car was parked right outside the back door. That's not something we would discuss in this setting. One more question. Yes, sir.
Chief, we had a witness tell us that he saw a suspicious person in the front aisle that was lingering near the exit where the shooter came in. And I'm wondering if you looked into that, because you said you believe he acted alone. So is that something you don't think played a part in allowing him to get in?
We have information as to what occurred in the theater based on the roughly 200 interviews that we have made, and we have ballistic evidence inside that suggests how the shooting went down, but we have so much investigation to do, and that's the kind of evidence for a prosecution, not for a discussion at this time.
Are there cameras in those evaluation of the shooter?
That door, you couldn't access that door from the outside. It has to be open from the inside.
We're not prepared to discuss any theories about how he got in there with the weapons, but we will tell you that his car was parked right outside the back door.
Are there cameras in those theaters? How long did the entire thing last? If you got 911 calls starting at 12:39.
We know there are a lot of rounds fired very rapidly. We know we were there within about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes from when we were called. Now, in an event like that, you know, we can surmise how much time it takes for someone in that traumatic event to call 911 and get through and dispatch to us. That will all be looked into. I think we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, folks.
This video has several curious aspects to it that are worth taking a look at in greater detail. Not only is the question about the security cameras avoided not once, but twice during the questioning, but the reactions of the FBI agent standing behind Aurora Police Chief Dan Oates is also worth taking another look at. It is quite obvious that they're avoiding the most important questions being asked.
And that's the kind of evidence for a prosecution, not for a discussion at this time.
Are there cameras in those evaluation of the shooter?
That door, you couldn't access that door from the outside. It has to be open from the inside.
We're not prepared to discuss any theories about how he got in there with the weapons, but we will tell you that his car was parked right outside the back door.
Are there cameras in those theaters? How long did the entire thing last? If you got 911 calls.
We're going to look at this debate from two angles. Tonight, part one, the questions the national media aren't asking. I don't need to go into a lot of details on the shooting because most every American is familiar with the basics. Police say 24-year-old James Holmes went into that theater in Aurora, Colorado. He was dressed in black, wearing a tactical helmet, vest, and leggings, as well as throat and groin protectors. Police say Holmes used an AR-15 assault rifle, a Remington shotgun, and a .40 caliber Glock handgun during that attack. And police say they found a second .40 caliber Glock inside of his car. The question being asked, how could he be allowed to buy those guns legally in Colorado? The question not being asked, how does an unemployed graduate student afford to buy them? Look, a decent AR-15 rifle costs $1,000 or more all by itself. The shotgun and the two handguns would easily run another $1,000 total. Spare mags, sights, slings, and so on, you're going to run another $1,000 across those three firearms. The bulletproof vest, that's easily another $800. And then you have all the money spent on bomb-making materials. Which brings us to our next question. As you know, police say that Holmes rigged his apartment with an incredibly complicated maze of fire bombs. But on the day he was arrested, he immediately told police about the bombs. Why? So our second question, where did this graduate student in neuroscience learn how to make a series of bombs so complicated that the FBI took 2 days to figure out how to disarm them? One official said the intricacy of these bombs is something rarely seen outside of war zones. He had a tripwire set behind the door to kill anyone who opened it. And yet, after setting this intricate death trap, decides to warn police about it before someone's killed? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Neither does what police are saying about this being a lone wolf attack.
All the evidence we have, every single indicator is that this is all Mr. Holmes's activity and that he wasn't particularly aided by anyone else.
But is that true? Eyewitness reports from the scene indicate that Holmes got a phone call from someone inside the theater, and also that tear gas was thrown from more than one location.
He got a phone call, and most people, when they get phone calls in theaters, they go straight out into the lobby to answer it. This person went directly to the emergency exit. He had his foot propped open by the door, and from the crack, it looked like he was signaling somebody or looking for somebody to come his way.
As I was sitting down to get my seat, I noticed that a person came up to the front row, to the front right, sat down, and as credits were going, I noticed it seemed like he got a phone call. So he went out towards the emergency exit doorway, which I thought was unusual to take a phone call.
So what you need to know is that there are so many questions about what really happened in Colorado. Questions we don't have answers to, and we may never have answers to. What is unfortunate is that instead of really digging into why this apartment would be rigged to kill, but then Holmes would then warn police and then lawyer up and not say anything else, where he got the funding and the firearms training, and these eyewitness reports that there was more than one person, instead of asking those questions, national media want to focus all their attention on why guns were legal in the first place. National media seems too busy playing the political game, not busy enough looking into what really happened. And that is Reality Check.
Police reported that they found all weapons used in the shooting on Holmes's person and in his car. The official count is 4 guns, which included an AR-15 assault rifle, Remington 870 shotgun, and 2 .40 caliber Glocks, one of which was found in his car. However, if we take another listen to the police audio, it seems officers found other guns inside the theater. There is also further evidence that there may have been another person or persons involved in the attack.
I'm going to be out on foot on the stable side of the theaters.
Cruiser 25, okay, and last unit reference to semi-automatic, tried again, you didn't come across.
16, I got people saying Theater 9 still.
Yeah, all of our RPs are saying Theater 9 where Batman was playing.
I'm not sure if that's where Batman was playing.
So they're saying it happened Theater 9 where Batman was playing, but another RP is saying they're still shooting.
16 Adam, I need a march corps behind the theater, stable side. The suspect in a gas mask. Show 9.
Show 9, okay, and we need cars south side. Suspect in a gas mask.
That they doing the white car you're by? 26 will have rescue on the north side of the 453, I have 3 parties shot over here with me. Where's the rest going to be? Just on the north side. I've got 2 victims up here with me right now. The one that shot in the face. 11, hold the air 1 second. Cars with that white car in the rear of the lot. Is that a suspect? Yes, we've got rifles, gas masks. He's detained right now. I've got an open door going into the theater. Suspect saying he's the only one, but I'm getting conflicting suspect description from the witnesses out here. Cruiser 11.
11.
I'm doing Kennedy. I need somebody to shut this movie off at 9. Have me shut the movie off at 9. Alright, I'll work on it. Weekend 25 to everybody on this. It's an assault rifle. We have magazines down inside, so everybody watch out for the assault rifle. We need rescue or we need more patrol cars. Back to the seaside. We're just going to take these people. Expedition, get down here.
Denver.
Rifle. Gonna be 5.56 caliber. Sorry.
Officer, do you need rescue as well?
No.
One shooter theory loses even more credibility when a second gas mask is discovered. How is it possible that 12 people were killed and 58 were injured by a semi-automatic weapon that jammed?
He shot easily like 60 or 70 rounds.
Then there's the official story given by the president himself concerning the blood path behind the theater. Obama claims that this wound spilled what appears to be buckets of blood. In the aftermath, the vulture media swoops in, misquoting Holmes' mother regarding the shooting, causing her to issue this statement.
I did not know anything about a shooting in Aurora at that time. He asked if I was Arlene Holmes and if my son was James Holmes, who lives in Aurora, Colorado. I answered, yes, you have the right person.
In an era of Facebook and Twitter, there's virtually nothing posted by or about James Holmes online. He is largely a man of mystery, but it's also very clear over the last few months, as his life was in crisis, he began to make plans for his attack. He moved to Colorado last fall and came across as a quiet and easygoing college student. But it was a different Jim Holmes who showed up at this San Diego pawn shop over the last few months, asking for tips about firing a gun.
I immediately recognized him when I saw his picture. My first words out of my mouth was, oh my God, he looks very familiar.
Last night, neighbors at his Aurora apartment building heard loud techno music blaring around midnight from his room, with the recorded sounds of gunshots.
Knowing that I almost opened the door to his apartment and then I was banging on that door, and thank God that he wasn't there.
And then Holmes apparently attempted to make himself into the Joker character of the Batman series, according to a briefing given to the New York police commissioner.
He had his hair painted red. He said he was the Joker.
It was over the last few months that Holmes, who was Phi Beta Kappa in college, saw his academic and career dreams collapse as he began to withdraw from a PhD program in neuroscience at the University of Colorado. This was Holmes just 6 years ago, called Jimmy, a clean-cut, 5'11" high school senior in San Diego. He had been a member of the junior varsity soccer team.
He was just quiet. He was just quiet.
When Holmes' mother, a psychiatric nurse, was first contacted at her San Diego home this morning, she did not seem surprised that something had happened. "You've got the right person," she told ABC News. "I've got to call the police." Today, his father, Robert, left the family home in San Diego under police protection to fly to Denver. In Colorado, police continue to search Holmes' apartment, which was described as elaborately booby-trapped with chemicals and incendiary devices. And authorities fear tonight he may have rigged similar booby traps in the university buildings where he took his classes. And Diane, late tonight we got word from our Denver affiliate that Holmes told police he was so calm because he had taken doses of the painkiller Vicodin.
A very strong painkiller.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
People who knew him in elementary school where he grew up in Northern California, and we've gone back that far, Wolf, because the picture we've gotten of Holmes so far has been pretty slim. His former classmates telling CNN this guy was hardly the loner everybody's describing now in Colorado, but they do admit he was one of the smartest kids in the class.
He excelled in academics. He was top of the class, and even back then he was ahead of every student academically, and his intelligence, you could tell it was ahead of every student at that time. He was pretty normal. He wasn't a loner as like I've heard him depicted later, but I mean, yeah, he was always with the kids. He got along well with everybody.
Wolf, I can imagine anybody along the line who knew James Holmes or interacted with him is probably having that same doubt in their mind. Is there anything they saw, anything they could have done along the way that could have sparked them to call authorities? Wolf?
The picture I see emerging, correct me if I'm wrong, Drew, because you've been doing some major investigating in all of this, that he may have been relatively normal, pretty normal, at least until he arrived in Colorado. Is that what you're learning?
It seems to be, and it seems to be centered around this elite neuroscience program he was involved with, which is why it's been frustrating for me and for many reporters to get such little information out of the University of Colorado's medical school to see exactly how he was behaving, though a source with information related to his academic career there, Wolf, is confirming to CNN that he did score poorly on that oral exam on June 7th. That was just 3 days before he told the school he was withdrawing. But again, the information has been pretty slim. What we've been trying to do, though, is just try to get a composite picture of James Holmes and try to pinpoint exactly where it was that, you know, it's not a scientific term, but where he may have snapped. And I think we'll be learning that later. The chancellor at the school actually told me yesterday that kind of information will only emerge in court.